and welcome to the Raw Review. We are the Dadley Boyz of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review Raw, but also Friday Night SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete. A bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, they're joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review Monday Night Raw. Bit of a weird one, this, because we've already reviewed the big thing from Raw earlier on in the day. But nevertheless, your thoughts on this show?
Yeah, go to the main channel for a deeper dive, perhaps, than the one we'll do here on the Wyatt 6, the big headline from this Raw.
Also available as a podcast.
Indeed. These are the Tuesdays you live for, am I right? Like, a massive return, loads of cool follow-up from Clash, this big debut, this big arrival, this Wyatt 6 stuff, like, newsworthy, noteworthy Raw. Love what they're feeding into for Money in the Bank already. It's what I want. It's Sami Zayn, Chad Gable as a 3-hour show. It's WWE distilled. Got tons out of this Raw.
Yeah, it's not what I want. It isn't. Cast your mind back to 2019. 2019. Or like the late 2010s, okay? And you've got 5-Star Wrestling's Carito going over the guy having those matches with Hiromu Takahashi. What? What's going on there? Yeah. Supernatural stuff, not my thing, and it's all over the show at the end. It's like, realistically, it's very poor at points, but there was one thing that I will absolutely be effusive in my praise over.
Let's get into it then, because lots to talk about on this show, as you said. We start with the usual Raw intro, but it's becoming corrupted. And then we get a big recap of everything that happened at Clash at the Castle. And then we get a big return to start the show. Seth Rollins.
That's his thing.
That's his thing.
I mean, that's what they all sing.
That's what they all sing along.
Seth Rollins is back. All white outfit.
You look great, and there's possibly more to this. The Seth Rollins thing that appeared, we talked about this on the news bit today. Seth Rollins only on the Titantron. None of the old Seth freaking Rollins stuff. Like an ostentatious attire. But
where is the freaking Rollins?
Where's the
you mother.
Sid, you told me about that. You told me about that meme yesterday. He's gone early.
Just came to me that.
That's good.
Where's the freaking Rollins? You mother.
Well, that's fine.
What did you mention? What were you going to talk about?
I can't remember anymore.
It's about like there's no freaking.
There is no freaking.
No.
There's nobody who matches freak, Sitch.
No.
Oh God.
Yeah, so a potential tease of a character change, as you said.
Yeah, I think so.
So he welcomes us back to Monday Night Rollins. Missed you, Chance. Missed you too, he says. He says he's back for one reason. He wanted to be the very best of all time, but he couldn't do that without getting back the championship that he made. And he glanced up at the Money in the Bank briefcases that are hanging above the ring. And he says he's obviously very familiar with that and figured it was the fastest way back to a title opportunity. He's interrupted by the world champion, though. Damian Priest comes out, who says, genuinely, it's good to have you back. He said, look, genuinely, also, I wanted to tell you that I was planning on cashing in Money in the Bank against you. I wanted to do it out of respect, and I wanted to become the world champion by beating you, but things didn't turn out that way, and I'll be honest, I'm doing just fine as champion, though. It's no longer Monday Night Rollins. It's El Campeon, everyone rises for instead. And Seth laughs and says, you know what, I'm going to cut you a bit of slack. You had a bit of a rough weekend. You almost lost your belt. You almost lost your leg. He says, I like where you're coming from, though. I almost respect it. You know, you and I, we're fairly alike. We both made our names in groups. He puts over the Shield as one of the greatest teams of all time. Both won Money in the Bank. Both waited a long time to cash it in. But when they did, both of them made a mark, and they, of course, both won their first titles at WrestleMania. There is a difference, though, Seth says. At one point, I grew a set. I realized I had to stand on my own 2 feet. What kind of champion do you want to be, Damien? Do you want to be the greatest or just be a footnote in the history of the Judgment Day? And Priest says, yeah, look, I know you beat me when you first won that world title. You were better than me at the time, but times have changed. You're not better than me now. Don't worry about being involved in the ladder match, though. How about it? Me and you, world title, money in the bank. And Seth sort of thinks about whether or not this is a trap for a second. Priest says, no, it's just between me and you. Do you want a shot or not? And Seth accepts, saying, just remember, as long as I'm here, this show will always and forever be Monday Night Rollins.
Love this. Bit of milquetoast fed this. That's what I live for. Like, it was... Seth...
Live for better things.
I don't want to live for better. I want to live for
I'm not talking about like these like big experiences and like,
Yeah.
you know, like just better things that you can escape into.
Solid 7 still a day I die, brother. Like,
So he's the weirdest guy I've ever met.
I thought it was super effective without ever being exciting. But I was glad to see Seth Rollins back. Earnestly. I
didn't expect it.
No, it was a nice surprise. Obviously, we're going to lose a star on Raw, but I've been complaining about the feeling of enough stars on Raw. It's been like they've got quality there, but just not seeing quite enough of a Punk or a Cody-like guy. And Seth coming back made me feel like, oh, he is one. And maybe when he's around all the time, you stop feeling that, but that's the benefit of somebody going away for a bit. So, like, right now, it's like, and it's great that Money in the Bank is so soon, because it's like, he's going to stay hot in the window. It's sort of, oh, great. Like, I'm not going to get bored of Seth Rollins right up until the title match. He's not setting his stall out for 6 months' time. It's right now.
2.5 weeks, basically.
Great. Like, that's the perfect time to remain.
Is that when Money in the Bank is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
July 6th.
Yeah, 6th and 7th. Yeah, so it's like a nice time to sort of stay excited about and stay hyped for Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest. But it was a good and quite a logical follow-up for Damian Priest. I was really sold on him after the Drew McIntyre match, and he sold on himself. And this was the time to cut this promo to say, like, had you have come back any sooner, I would have felt like an imposter. These people would have seen me as an imposter. Not now. So the timing of it, I think, is sort of perfect. The sense that we have arrived at Seth Rollins, Damian Priest this soon after WrestleMania, a Gunther match is on the horizon, and the Seth one's bigger, but this doesn't feel predictable in the slightest. I think it's a real credit to Damian Priest and a credit to Seth Rollins knowing when to, I don't know, try and put his foot on the throat of a star, or actually try and sit back and give the opportunity for the guy. I think he's sometimes to a detriment, quite a selfless performer, Seth Rollins, and this was that. Like, good matchmaking and decent booking too.
Yeah, I think the matchmaking's okay. I mean, I cannot see the finish. I don't know what the finish is for Money in the Bank, and I'll be prepared depending on how the next weeks unfold.
Gunther helps, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will very much, because it was weird, Damian Priest versus Gunther just doesn't feel like a match.
No. But he's sort of earning his way to it if he beats Seth on top of Drew, isn't he? Yeah.
So, no, I don't. I mean, you said it. Dr. Fed said it himself. You know, this is pretty solid, which I...
Staple diet Fed.
Yeah. Solid for me is a synonym of bland, right? And that's what this is. Bland, solid. But, you know, I don't know the finish. I mean, Damian Priest kind of delivered that main event style better than he ever has. At Clash at the Castle. So... I'm uninspired.
I think the
genuine surprise, like you say.
Yeah, this is genuine surprise. I don't hate it. In fact, I think it's quite clever. And until they start really tediously talking at one another over the next 2 Raws, I will not go, oh God, this again yet.
Him dialing back the character a bit did feel pointed when they're removing some of the graphics as well. Could be nothing. Could just be like an accident, or they only had the one video queued up or whatever. WWE does, for all the production gets credited now, there are more gaffes than there used to be as well, so it could have just been that. But it did feel a bit dialed back on the Seth Rollins you would get prior to him going out injured. So he's done this before. Like, he's tried to change his character or shift it. Sometimes it's been nonsensical, truthfully, but he's tried to make the change anyway. This could be the start of that. He's not daft. He's been around long enough to know when to change it up a little bit.
And just coincidence this happens on the same show that the Wyatt Sick6 and Uncle Howdy? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, we've been here before. We have been here before, if you recall. 2 things may not necessarily be linked together inextricably. Because you recall in the summer of 2020, two things happened at the same time. And you thought, ooh, connection. Yeah. Retribution debuted, and WWE moved from the Performance Center to the Thunderdome. And you thought, that new expensive facility, I think those gang of disillusioned vandals might want to break that before it's even built. I know they just happily inhabited the Thunderdome. And then they were signed by
contracts. That was smart.
So we see Chad Gable.
We can't change things sitting on our couch.
I'm gonna hit this ring with a baseball bat.
You love that.
Whoa, bloody hell!
That's the system in a way, and they're smashing it kind of.
I'll put a window through, and then make sure the rest of that glass is put through as well.
And for some reason, they're all as short as me. Remember that?
Did love the same window going through twice. That specific one.
Don't break anymore.
Don't break anymore.
Feels like such a Vinceism, doesn't it? That's my favourite window. Oh God, we broke his favourite window. Run, scram,
Scream, cheese it, knobs.
you got it, sexy. Remember the bin monster?
Yeah.
Just doing stuff when they're just doing f***ing out. They're just, there's an octopus. What?
And he is dying, and it's Jimmy Hill.
It's the Viking Raiders. One of them are hot.
Did anything ever come of that?
Not a thing.
What? Sorry?
I was like, did anything come of that? The bin monster.
Not a bin
What
monster.
was going to come of it?
The sexy Viking Raider.
No, now it came about. Now it came about.
You're kind of cute. You, not so much. And then like whichever one was cute would go like this. Kind of cute, am I? And the other one would be like, rawr.
I'm more of a Viking and less of a sex hammer, so that checks out. Just like, wait a minute. That ninja's f***ing massive. He'd be perfect for Raw Underground security. What was all that sentence? Tune in 2 weeks to find out. Because then we're just doing some stuff.
Tune in and find out. If you got one word for you to describe the action, it's sick! It's so sick! It's sick!
Anyone can lose a 24/7 title, especially when you've been eaten by a shark. Stuff just happened for years.
What happened last week? Who cares?
Every week. Just happened.
So earlier on the day, ahead of this next match, we saw.
I'm done. Can't be asked. I cannot be asked.
Remember when Riddle literally did that on a Raw? Forgot his lines. Bye, Asuka. Scooted off.
Definitely going to be something slightly racist.
Oh,
wasn't it?
100%, yeah.
See ya.
I got a new friend. He's my tag team partner. It's Omos. What, AJ? We're the tag team team. Another WrestleMania match that was stunk up by me, AJ Styles. I was the worst bit of it. He was.
He was.
They protected Omos, knew they bumped around for him, and then AJ got in. Boring. Get the big man back in. Seen all your days, he can't do a thing.
Right, Chad Gable and Alpha Academy meet with Postman Pierce earlier on. He's obviously fizzing at Alpha Academy for failing him at Clash at the Castle, and in fact, it's their fault he's not IC champion. He wants another shot at Sami Zayn, but Adam Pearce says that I get where you're coming from, but you've literally had loads of title shots back of the line for you. And Gable's like, well, give me a match to prove myself. And Pearce is like, I think I got an idea. And oh no, it's Braun Strowman. Gable, they take the piss out of Gable for being so small. And a bit of a flashback to the years we were just referencing there. He tries to German suplex Strowman. Obviously, that doesn't work. Strowman yells, I don't like bullies.
I don't like them either. I mean, the sentiment's correct, but the delivery and the exposition was piss poor.
From somebody that was once a bully.
Correct.
Gable tried to armbar him over the ropes, but he got knocked to the floor to take us to a break. We come back, and Braun's doing the big Beal, Gable across the ring. Goes outside, rips his shirt off, goes outside to do the train. Gable tries to use Akira Tozawa as a shield. Strowman just picks him up and throws him at Gable. It's a power slam. 1, 2, 3. Post-match, Gable calls the Alpha Academy into the ring and starts berating them. Puts his hands on Akira Tozawa. Maxine Dupree hobbles over and stands between them. So Gable just pulls a crutch away, chucks it out of the ring. Otis steps in, helps Maxine out of the ring. Whilst all this is going on, Gable just slaps Akira Tozawa down. And Otis spins round, shoves Gable across the ring. Huge pab. And then he helps Tozawa and Dupree to the back. Crowd are chanting for Otis. You suck at Gable, and Gable's just yelling after them, basically.
I'm going to stay true to my word of what I said in the preview yesterday. I would call myself out if the Creeds weren't there because I thought this was the week. And I still think this was the week. However, he was shot in the head at the end of Raw.
Yes, he was.
So that does change things slightly. Up until that point, I was like, this needs the Creeds. But otherwise, fantastic. Again, enormous reactions for these last attacks on Alpha Academy. Really like the match. We said this before, when a character's changing in the way that Chad is, this is actually the time to beat them. And I thought the match had loads of character, and I've enjoyed Braun Strowman again. Like, it was a weird firing then, and then you see him come back and have the matches he's having, and you really can, like, smartly applied, Braun Strowman's a real asset to your roster, and I think this was another example of that. For the basic stuff, like a big guy that won't be, like the contrast of somebody that will not be slapped about by Chad Gable in the way that this has happened to Alpha Academy. He was perfect for the role in a one-night thing, and again, a nice matches in WWE are backdrops to angles sometimes, and I don't have a huge problem with that because it's kind of what they do.
That's just what wrestling is, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of the
TV
time.
wrestling.
And the angle was hot. And again, I was willing the Creeds to come out at this point, be like, you've had your amazing pop. The Creed should smash Otis right now. And then everything's gone a bit wild with this Wyatt 6.
Yeah.
He wasn't somebody I expected to be in the mix with, like, the Wyatt thing. So I guess we have to see what happens with that now.
That's
like,
right. I assumed
they've created a delay.
I assumed he wasn't going to be. They weren't going to do the Creeds tonight, or last night, I should say, because it would just get drowned out by, especially if you got Seth Rollins returning as well. Seth Rollins and obviously the Uncle Howdy Wyatt 6 thing. But I didn't think, that's because Chad Gable's also going to be involved in this. I don't know whether he is or not, whether he's just cannon fodder sort of early on.
Yeah, I mean, this whole Chad Gable stuff and this Alpha Academy stuff, I just continue to feel like I am taking crazy pills. Like, for this to work, there's a lot of, like, a conditioning thing where it's like you've seen this trope in wrestling time and time again, and it invariably works. And I'm not saying that there's no real earnest enjoyment of the Otis character that these people are feeling, and that they're just seals who see a story play out, and, I'm not saying any of those things. But I personally feel nothing.
Yeah.
I personally feel nothing for Otis. I think these are cartoon characters. It's one of those things where I never asked for such kind of heavy material to do with this lot, who I rather enjoyed or rather preferred when they were just some undercard geeks doing some daft stuff.
Shush.
Yes,
Please.
shush. Shush, please. That was better to me than this weighty material and the acting that goes on. Oh, my God. The acting that goes on. Akira Tozawa, well, gives us an excuse to press the button and have some fun.
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game!
How old is Akira Tozawa? Because I'm thinking he's 40 years old.
Yeah, he's up
He
there.
is 40 years old, or there or thereabouts. He's going, hey, crying, I'm crying. I'm Akira Tozawa. He's an adult. He's a adult human being who's meant to be a human in this world.
He's feeling love and the loss of love because Chad Gable
Acting.
saved his career, and now he's turned his tormentor,
Saved his career.
Yeah, he's going nowhere, and now he's in Alpha Academy doing jobs.
I mean, you know what I mean, though? I mean, I find this in, like, Maxine Dupree,
I thought that bit was really good.
This isn't
Kicking
cinema.
the crutch away.
Yeah.
I mean, that was all right. They got a reaction. And
It's not cinema, it's Netflix.
It just feels a bit...
Literally soon. Anyway.
Yeah.
It just feels a bit very, like, I don't know, it's all very manipulated, this. It's all very manipulated. Like, how can we manipulate the crowd into feeling this reaction, this reaction, this reaction? I'll be astonished, put it this way, of Chad Gable versus Otis, which they've invested a lot of time in. Is this, like, incredible, memorable match that reaches a great artistic ceiling and brings down the house?
Like
and people
singlet
talk about
tribal
yes.
combat.
Exactly.
So it's
So why,
like
I
it's-
know, why do I want to see it then?
Because
I
week
think
by
the
week, because
acting's
this lasts
bad.
longer, week by week, you want more and more and more of that. Oh, yeah, so what at the end of the match dies? You give a f***. Like, you get weeks and weeks of class telly and pops and stuff.
It's not
like-
class telly.
It is.
It's not.
You've
man.
just
Akira
spoken about, you've just spoken about crowd manipulation. What is pro wrestling if not that? Over
Yeah, I
and
know
over
what it
and
is,
over
but
again.
it's just
Like,
you're not meant to be so naked with it. Like, we'll do this trick from the Rolodex of ways to get them to go. It's like what they're doing is they are putting the members of the crowd,
Yeah.
you know the buttons on sitcoms, the laughter track and the, oh,
Yeah.
oh, it's like they're pressing the buttons, but the crowd are the buttons.
I just think it's like magician.
I mean,
stuff.
they
It's
like it, I don't. I
Yeah,
mean,
just-
end of story.
like different card tricks, isn't it? You know,
You know,
like,
I
still
know I
enjoy
want
that.
back Gunther. Yeah, late 2022 and early 2023 Gunther. I like that. I know, I know. You don't have to tell us what wrestling is, mate. I know what it is. I'm just saying.
Mate.
Akira Tozawa crying and everyone going, oh,
When Gunther
Give me
returns to Raw, you
give me
get
a-
both. You get the buffet.
give me a break. I
I'm
still
gonna
like
go-
it, and I think the acting is piss poor, and I feel like the caricatures
I'll go
playing a role.
It's a good divider of tastes in wrestling, I think, this story, because it is, like, Clash was a good example of it. Like,
Interfering with what it could have been.
I think your assessment of this was very fair.
What is sports entertainment? It's only the medium wrestling could have been. That's what you fed people think.
On the Clash review, in which Sid was very fair in defense of that, like, that match was an illustration
Just poorly acted melodrama.
of this. You didn't say
Maybe
that.
that's what wrestling is, and I just don't belong here anymore.
What the hell are you doing here?
Yeah, you know what I
You
mean?
don't
Like,
belong
what am I
here.
doing? No, I like the elite. Matthew Jackson kind of was a bad actor, but he's funny now.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying, Alpha Academy were funny then. Shush, shush, please. I like that. What a sting.
You know, where were you at with it? We don't really.
Oh, he
get your-
absolutely loves
No,
it.
but
I popped for Otis finally standing up to him and shoving him over and going, "No, I've just done with this now."
Yeah.
and I'm just excited for them to get to the Creed stuff. So I was like, I'm kind of
Because you know
I'm kind
it's
of a little bit with Sidge on that. I'm like, let's get on with it now.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
there's a bit of that with the Creed.
Hey. You were right.
There is a bit. I felt that was what I was saying yesterday. Like this was the week until the weird folding in of Chad into the bracelet. Like this felt like the week to do the Creed thing because we all know you've been told and it's fun and it's like right. Well, I want the payoff now. And the fact they've delayed that potentially even longer with this Chad beatdown is, well, I don't know.
I'm gonna go 38.
I forgot about the game. I'm going to say a flat 40.
Yeah, 40. I've got to go different. I'll say 41.
Nicholas.
Willborn, you're the winner, 38 on the dot.
Oh, get in. I think
Middle-aged
that might be
man
able to
in
read it from here.
tears.
I can't.
He is so young.
All in our 30s.
Fact.
We are all in our 30s.
Yeah.
We had very entertaining Pat McAfee doing his football analysis of everything that happened with Liv Morgan and the Judgment Day and Finn Balor and the hotel key and straddling Dominic Mysterio, all that stuff.
People are throwing around the Pat scan. Call it that. That's really good. Seen that kicking around a lot on X.
Alternatively, never have him commentate on these shows again.
You sound darn in the dumps, Sidge.
Yeah, I hate him. I think he's real bad.
Also, I remembered what it was last week when they had the Rey Mysterio with a little speech bubble that it says, "I'm a deadbeat dad." I never realised he actually said that.
I know.
I mean,
Evidence.
yeah. So Judgment Day are in the back, and Balor says, "I've got you back to Damian Priest with Rollins if you need it." Priest's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." What's going on with this hotel room key? Because we all saw what happened, and Balor was like, "Hey, I took the key to protect Dominic. Actually, I threw it in the tray-ish."
Is he joined the family? Oh, what's
Priest
going on here?
says, don't rule it out. Priest says he didn't mean anything by it.
Kevin Finnity.
Yes,
Having that.
good.
Oh, no.
Balor's been
That's one of the
distracted
better ones,
lately. What's Balor going to do if he wins Money in the Bank? And for a split second, I thought, uh-oh, here we go. Because he said, I'm going to win Money in the Bank and cash in on the champ. I was like, bloody hell, that's a bit tense, isn't it? He went, it's Cody Rhodes. And I was like, Dom's like, has anyone seen my purple cow vest?
Shut up. Finn Balor joining the family. He goes, what do you do in stacks?
Hey, that's right, boys.
Well,
LTST.
yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, we're deranged in this room. We are deranged in this room.
Yeah.
See Finn Balor stealing Sean's bit. A fan was heckling him. You should be a carnival attraction or something like that because he's short. Right? I'm 10 foot tall and I'm standing on my f***ing wallet. I was like, yeah, oh yeah. And then it means that like Andrew Dice Clay on Twitter links the original Shawn one, and it's his best suck it ever because it's December 97 and he's a donkey on the edge by then. Everything's knife edge with our HBK in 97. Back's falling over, thinking some stuff, doing some stuff.
Yeah, yo.
Triple H is looking scared. Can I get your bags, boss? Thanks, Paul.
So yeah, Dom's looking for his purple cow
Hey,
vest.
China, thanks for getting him over.
They get the Nog to drive.
Got 4 chicks in the back. You're going to have to go up front, Paul. No problem, Sean. Can I have the X when you retire?
So
He sucked, didn't he? Triple H stunk
He's a
for
Nog.
years. He was a cop.
so
Get in the van and ride with a click. Hey, you want to be my friend? No, we need a designated driver. That's how it happened. Change the business.
Works for me.
Dom's looking for his purple cow vest. Can't find
riding
it.
with the Godwins.
Carlito laughs and says, must have left it in Liv Morgan's hotel room. Hey!
Wait.
Judgment Day didn't like that joke, but I did.
The tears of the Judgment Day is like JD McDonough, total scrub, useless idiot. And it's like Carlito, he's surveyed the room. They need a patter guy,
Yeah.
Paul, because JD ain't it.
No,
They've got a
no.
loser, but they need a crack guy. You're in. I like this. It clicked for me this week.
Yeah.
And then he has a match with Dragon Lee, which is kind of a disgrace.
Every Carlito match is a disgrace.
Yeah, true.
Never been a good one.
This is 2 levels of disgrace, though, but we'll get to it.
Never been a good Carlito match.
I can't name one.
Prove me wrong. Never been a good one.
We got a triple threat. Money in the
Will
Bank.
one care to prove him wrong? Or?
No, no, that's not a hill I'm going to die on. He's Patter, obviously.
Yeah.
Hey, left in a hotel room. Ah, my guy.
Because of sex.
Yeah, lots of rounds.
A triple threat. Money in the Bank
Spit or
qualifier
swallow.
next.
My apple.
They've already done that bit with Marie Emin. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Ah, you remember it, don't you? You poor vort.
put it on a t-shirt. It was just filth, wasn't it? It was just relentless.
I was confused by it at the time. I didn't realise what
Absolute
it meant.
poor vort.
What are you talking about? I would just spit out a bit of apple. I know you split your gimmick, but it's a waste of apple.
Such a weird shirt because like you've got Carlito, like a children's cartoon. His head on an apple underneath. Spit or swallow. It's like mid-2000s WWE in a nutshell. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
The person who designed that t-shirt, yeah, AEW head of merchandise probably. Nick Wayne's mom, fat ass, bad attitude. Like, who's wearing these t-shirts?
You're not going to get it for the sickles
Someone
one.
tagged me in that the other day. Is that real?
You're not getting for the sickles, Sitch.
No. Not anymore.
Only available at Collision Tape.
Yeah.
Yes, it's for us.
So it was a triple threat Money in the Bank qualifier. Io Sky, Zelina Vega, and Kiana James.
Forgot about it.
Kiana James got sent outside early on. Sky moonsaulted onto her, but a nice meteora by Zelina Vega takes us to break. And we come back. Sky's making her way to the top rope, but on the way there, she gets caught by Vega, who hits a 619, knocks her off the middle rope. Hits a code red, but just at the last second, Kiana James breaks up the cover. Liv Morgan comes out. You'll never guess what she's wearing. It's Dom's bloody purple cow vest, isn't it? Vega's distracted by this. Kiana James knocks Vega off the apron. Sky hit James with a moonsault. 1, 2, 3. Io Sky qualifies for Money in the Bank. The right person out of those.
The best wrestler is going to be in the big, exciting match. No notes.
Yeah, your guys form a bit at the moment, and they've done an all right job of overlapping the stories enough that Zelina Vega and Liv Morgan can have this. Probably Money in the Bank title defense. It'll be a win for Liv Morgan, or they'll do it as a TV thing, whatever. But the one thing they've not really concentrated on with this Liv Dom stuff is actually lining up. Like, they've not been able to do the two things at once. It's like it's been so Judgment Day, so Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley in the background. You've not had a who's she wrestling right now.
yeah.
And they've done an all right job in getting like Zelina Vega into her orbit a little bit.
So we got a video package recapping Bron Breakker killing Ricochet. And no Samantha Irvin this week. Alicia Taylor filling in brilliantly as the ring announcer. Then Sami Zayn comes out, gets a great reaction, says he's proud to still be the IC champion. Wasn't easy beating Gable, he says. All this personal stuff started because Zayn just beat him in a wrestling match, and it's appropriate that it ended with him beating Chad Gable in a wrestling match. He's moving on, though, but it is hard to move on from Alpha Academy, at least, because he feels bad for them. He knows what it's like. He left the bloodline. He knew he was ready. Jey Uso did the same. And after what happened earlier on tonight, he's hoping that the Academy leaves Gable for good. But all that said and done, time to look forward for Sami Zayn and defend this title, and he's interrupted by Bron Breakker.
God, do it every time.
Who didn't have much to say. He said, look, you know what, I'm out here. I've left bodies behind me, and you're next. I'm taking the IC title. But Zayn doesn't believe this. He holds up title. The crowd chant his name.
Chowd.
Sheamus interrupts. He says he's been chasing this title for years. He'd do anything to get his hands on it. They're going to have a banger after banger after banger. Breakker's offended that Sheamus acted like he wasn't there and asked him, are you out of your mind?
He's in the Steiner family, not the D'Angelo one.
I was fighting on doing a Dane Bowers impression there.
Go on, give us a Dane Bowers.
I don't know.
Well,
It was just like a Dane Bowers victory. You're out of your mind.
like very auto-tuned, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you auto-tune as a voice?
Oh,
Oh, wait a minute, is that Believe by Cher?
Breakker doesn't care about Sheamus' sob story, though, because he's going to kick his ass. Sheamus called Breakker the new hot kid, but he can't make any claims to this IC title. Back of the line or else. And Zayn's like, you two just fight it out. I'm going to have a word with Postman Pierce.
It's weird we're reviewing this. If the match was next week, I'd be hyped out the ass. The match was, we'll get to it, a letdown. So, good booking in theory, just didn't deliver.
Nah.
That's what I want, though. Like, Bron Breakker for the Intercontinental title feels right.
Yeah.
Talked about this yesterday. I think they could either do it at Money in the Bank or put Bron in or whatever. There's loads of ways to get Bron Breakker at this Intercontinental title. Feels like the move. It's where he is on the card. Logical, all that sort of stuff. As was programming against Sheamus, but off night, weirdly.
Yeah.
Well, in the match, not the post-match. Everything comes good with Bron Breakker.
Jesus Christ.
Oh!
There was a Dragon Lee promo. I genuinely forgot Carito cost him the spot at WrestleMania.
Good to
Great sign, that is it, yeah. And then the new tag team champions are interviewed, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, saying it's a dream come true to win their titles in front of their friends and family. But the celebration's over. They're ready to take on anyone, and they're interrupted by Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark saying, we beat you last week. And Shayna says she made Jade Cargill tap out, but the ref missed it. Zoe says they're basically just keeping the belts warm for them. They're focused on Money in the Bank for now, but they're coming for the tag belts soon. And Dawn and Fire said, we're ready anytime.
There are probably just as many examples of WWE and like pro wrestling, like just thinking its audience is totally stupid. But this, so soon after the Gunther Randy Orton finish, is an example of them seeing kind of like an obvious error in judgment or a botch or whatever, and then at least trying to make it mean something in the aftermath. Shayna having this rightful claim. It is a bit weird that it follows that like tweet you mentioned, Sid, where she was like, ropes look fine to Zoe Stark. Like, so that's Shayna having 2 digs, a second dig. But like, I'm glad that got acknowledged. They should lean in more when you get these like botches or these things that are so apparent, not just like shy away from it. So I quite like that. It creates a reason for them to have a claim.
Yeah.
And then we got Carlito versus Dragon.
You don't give a damn.
Well, the stuff I could do. No. I thought this was a pretty bad show, to be honest.
Give a damn.
It doesn't give a damn.
Carlito versus Dragon Lee. He goes to the outside, sends him into the barricade, does Carlito, but Lee hit him with a Hurricane Rana from the
It's a
apron.
women's tag team title division about defense.
Yeah.
I think I didn't give a damn
yeah.
about. I mean, who cares?
It's totally fair.
Thanks.
I can't argue that.
We come back. Dragon Lee hits a running knee, but gets hit with a neck breaker for 2. Carlito takes him into the corner, but there's a
Can
nice...
you just slow this down, this recap? Because people who follow WWE through us might think that this was like a competent match through the rhythm of your...
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Carlito slowly takes him to the corner, but gets hit with that top rope double stomp. Lee hit a sit-out powerbomb and got 2. Liv Morgan's out for another distraction, though. Dom's like, give me my vest back. Where'd you get it? Zelina Vega runs in and attacks Liv Morgan. Dom uses the opportunity to take a cheap shot at Ray. That's what's funny. Yep. Joaquin Wild breaks up the fight between Liv and Zelina. Dom Dom shoves him into the ring steps. Ray goes after his son. This obviously distracts the ref. McDonough knocks Dragon Lee off the top, and Carlito sort of grabs him and hits him with a backstabber to get the 1, 2, 3.
Carlito defeating Dragon Lee is just, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's not as if like I hold this big aspiration of WWE being, guys, you've heard of this concept? It's called work rate. And it actually separates the wheat from the chaff. You know, I'm not in a forum in 2003. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a complete naive idiot. However,
switch velocity and Raw, if anything.
Yeah, it's Carlito. At the end of the day, you know, it's not like the holding down Dragon Lee. How dare the Fed do this? I mean, they'll have a nice little Dragon Lee on the undercard. That's how they book and operate and all the rest of it. It's Carlito. What's the point in this? He's going to wrestle really slow matches. Dragon Lee is like a bullet from a gun on his best day. He's unbelievably explosive. That spot against Kenny Omega on his one AEW appearance, unbelievable. What the hell is this? I did laugh though. That Carlito bump when he gets the flying head scissors and he has to bump from the apron to the outside, and he's like, "Oh God, I'm too old for this." Let's go. Oh God, right, okay. 2 seconds after he's meant to do the bump, it's like, "Oh God, I have to now. Oh Christ, I really have to now. The time is expiring as we speak." He's just boom, right on his side. What are you doing?
The LWO stuff's pretty good at this point, I think. Into the vest, into the Ray and Dom,
into the vest,
cheap shot exchanges they keep doing. There's a backdrop to that. That's what this Dragon Lee match was. Carlito's so bland, you are permitted to enjoy the extracurricular activity and miss nothing.
Nay, encouraged.
Ideal.
They show a replay of Clash again. Priest almost losing his leg. Punk costing McIntyre in that video you talked about on the review of Punk getting a referee shirt from Jessica Carr.
Aye. Go on the WhatCulture Wrestling YouTube channel if you're a listener, and we do a big old explanation of that.
Backstage, Chad Gable goes up to Otis and Akira and Maxine and yelling at them. And then he's like, "Wait a second, why are you packing your bags? Where are you going? We're family." And Otis says, "We're done." And they leave. Gable's all alone. He says, "Oh, it's fine. I'm going to do something big. In fact, I'm going to do something that fail you could never do. Win Money in the Bank and cash in and become champion."
Right, first of all, dialogue-wise and delivery-wise, this is really bad. Not like anything that would the Gooker from Wrestle Crap or anything like that, but this huge betrayal that he doesn't really see coming because he's deluded and all the rest of it happens to him. And he can't believe it, and then he just suddenly, within seconds, has this big epiphany, and then very calmly and eloquently delivers his next plan of action. No, with respect to Simon Miller, no one talks like this, and it's impossible to take seriously. And his facial expressions, I thought, were actively bad.
It was one of them things. Wrestling just does stuff sometimes. It's like, where are you going? What are you doing this for? All the stuff that happened.
Yeah.
First of all the constant events in our lives for weeks.
And then he's like, right, okay, well, now that you've done that here, let me do this instantly.
Yeah. They were wanting to, we know what's going on here. They want to establish that Chad Gable's sticking around, that he's on his own, that he's got
coming up on wrestling.
Other goals. And then it's like, but wait, what of those goals now after the reveal? And that's why you cannot be trusted to think that Chad Gable just walked the halls.
Episodic wrestling TV is bad. And I'm kind of ahead of this trend. I can see people on Twitter saying it's bad as well,
And they don't even watch WWE.
Some of them do.
I don't believe it. I refuse to believe some of those.
There's one solution to episodic wrestling TV. It's on Tuesday
Cancel
nights.
it!
It's on Tuesday nights, baby. Yeah, right. Best episodes of the week. We'll preview it later. Drew McIntyre comes out. They've done loads of Drew's heading to the ring throughout this entire show.
We never got Shawn and The Rock as a dream match, but we got Shawn and The Rock's daughter as a booking dream match.
She hasn't got a surname. She's The Rock's daughter. General Manager of the NXT Booker and Cook of the Year.
Yep.
Ava. Drew McIntyre, we walked through the halls on numerous occasions. Anyway, he comes out, and whilst he's coming out, they show the footage of the effing and Jeffing, the tantrum he threw after Clash went off the air, and having a go at Corey and Wade Barrett going, yeah, I agree. The crowd obviously chants for CM Punk here, and McIntyre goes to respond, says CM Punk, and he gets drowned out by cheers again. CM Punk, again, stops himself, and then he just goes, I can't do this anymore. Screw this company. I quit. Throws down the microphone, walks out. Postman Pearce is there and pleading and begging with him. Cut to a break as he's walking up the aisle, and then we see Triple H talking to him, and Drew's blaming everyone, basically. And they're trying to talk some sense into him, but no. Drew McIntyre quits.
Couldn't have loved it more. I was kicking myself.
Love that, like every single segment of the Fed. Couldn't have loved this more.
Love this story. Love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is really good. This is
Wish
really
I'd
good.
called it. I was thinking yesterday on the preview of Brett smashing the monitors up after Austin screwed him at the Rumble 97, and what ended up becoming quite a pivotal Raw for WWE the next night. Brett quits, and it's only an hour. And by the end of the night, he's kind of got on his way, and he's got like one more shot of the title. But it's the first time it's like Brett just like whinge a bit for a title shot. Austin was just cool, and it was like, things are changing a little bit. And Drew at this point has been doing this Brett shtick for ages, and can, like, again, if you're borrowing or stealing homework, steal from the best. Like, this was the other option from going mental, wasn't it? And the fact that he knew or was able to draw out that CM Punk chant, to get that a couple of times as if there might have been something different. And then on the spot, he was like, you know what, this was kind of on my mind anyway, and you've just solidified it. And then when he's going backstage and you actually hear what he's saying to Triple H and Postman Pearce, it's like They've weaved in quite nicely Triple H's comments about Punk coming back and being like good for the locker room and stuff in the press conference to the story, because it's like he's copying what Wade Barrett said. Like, it's not that he's doing it, it's that you continue to sanction this.
Yeah.
This man is poison. I've said it from the very beginning. It will go wrong in the end, and yet nobody's listening to me. And that frustration that like a lot of people genuinely feel about CM Punk is related to what happened in AEW, or the other sort of like the kind of like toxicity that surrounds him as a personality that he's
Insane Clown Posse.
Indeed, like everybody that's had a negative experience about Punk feels this way, and then like bangs their head against the wall when a bunch of people just really like him for like what a magnetic person he is. So it feels real and it feels authentic when you know it's a storyline, because The Rock gave him a sword. Like, it'd be more effective if it wasn't for that. But nonetheless, the idea that he signed a new contract and is already ready to just walk away from it because that's what CM Punk has done to him, is the feeling that Punk has won like yet another set of head games with yet another wrestler, only to either A, him announce on SmackDown that he's cleared, only for Drew to brutalise him and re-injure him all over again in a class angle, or B, turn the tables and wait and wait and wait until Punk is the one with his finger on a briefcase or on a belt, and then he strikes, and it's like, I'm back in the game. I've had to do things your way. It's brilliant storytelling. It's exactly the way it's done.
This is absolutely brilliant. It's the best thing going on in WWE. It continues to be brilliant. They've done two really big twists this week that were completely unexpected. It's the most compelling, unpredictable, twist-heavy storyline they've done all year. I think it's been magnificently told, very bold as well. I love the idea as well. You can take it in a million different directions. Like, Drew will at some point come back, save it for a while, maybe even like the 2 weeks before SummerSlam or whatever. And like the idea as well, like he's so obsessed with this man, and his brain has been rewired by CM Punk at this point. And he can just use this as fuel. It's like, oh, you're booing Drew McIntyre, you know, because when CM Punk quit in 2014, you just loved him. He became this iconoclast. And now that I quit, Drew's the bad guy and all the rest of it. Like, there's so much they can play with here. There are so many routes they can take. I don't know which one they're going to take. They've really held my interest with this. But nonetheless, for now, it is say goodbye to Drew McIntyre and leave the memories alone. And on the subject of memories, long-time listener and goddamn legend Eric Vasquez reminded me, you know, I was like, I didn't think there was, but evidently there is such a thing as too much patter in this podcast, on this podcast, where you think, Jesus Christ, I've forgotten about the patter, because there's just so much patter. And, you know, they only go like an hour and 15 minutes, whatever, these podcasts. There's not enough room for all of it. And sometimes patter gets squeezed out of that patter block, and you never pick it back up.
Yes.
Eric Vasquez reminded me on Twitter of something you used to say that Drew McIntyre would do to his opponents, and that you haven't said in a long time.
Brutalize.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Say it much louder.
Brutalize.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh? It's good.
Too much patter.
Yeah. And Eric reminded you of that, has reminded me that we need to do a regular feature here. And that is, of course, the Raw Riddle. Ooh. which is going to be a bit unfair to Sige because I'm fairly certain we did it after you had to shoot off yesterday.
I've already forgotten it and didn't get it on the day, so it's okay. All right.
Doesn't confirm.
Yeah.
I will try and get the jingle for this on the board eventually. Shout out to John Harrison, of course. Sige, if you've got me, you want to share me. But if you share me, you haven't kept me. What am I?
Got me, you want to share me. But if you share me, you haven't got me. No more. No more. No more. I don't know, I've got any. I know. And I've got no idea as well.
If you've got me, you want to share me. But if you share me, you haven't kept me. What am I?
Sweet.
It can't. Feels like it can't be any object, doesn't it? It's got to be like a concept.
A concept.
Love.
An abstract concept.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, do that again.
Love.
No, man. The riddle.
Love.
If you've got me, you want to share me. But if you share me, you haven't kept me. What am I?
Trust.
Share trust. So we've got love to trust to what? There's got to be like a third emotion.
Loyalty.
Is it a secret? Keep it
Secret.
secret. Emotional detective work that was. What the f***ing Dadleys?
Yeah.
Sorry, Robert.
Yeah.
It's been too many this episode. I'm sorry.
Just this episode. Yes, correct. This week's Raw Riddle.
Ooh, I'm scared of swearing. I'm scared of doing my work. You work shy.
The dig on it, swear.
Next up, it was damage control.
Wilborn's passive-aggressive behaviour.
Next up, it was damage control. Dakota Kai and Kairi Sane versus.
Stop going for coffee on a morning.
We all get coffee on a morning.
That's some time to your day.
What's that going to help us after I've had the coffee, you dickhead?
You'd have already done the work earlier in the day that you get in front of you.
Right, it was Dakota Kai and Kairi Sane versus Caden Carter and Katana Shan straight out of the club. Sane hit Carter with the insane elbow. Katana breaks up the cover, but they knock Katana out of the ring. But out comes Michael Hamlet, Lyra Valkyria.
Oh, God. I was dreading that bit.
She's a buzz.
It happened to Paul Wilborn yesterday, mid-preview. The Birdie song, why have we not done that?
Why haven't we
Then
not
we
done
went on
the
to, I
Birdie
went on to
song,
explain how I
guys?
hate those songs from like,
Black Lace, wasn't it?
yeah, squashed Butlin's holiday memories of being a kid. And like Agadoo and the Birdie song.
What was the other one?
Macho Man.
I
I don't like that.
Sound on.
I do like hands up, baby, hands
That's
up.
slightly different.
A bit of disco, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bit of a groove.
Yeah.
Okay, you
It's got one instruction, but okay. It's my favourite bit. Like Michael Sidgwick's revenge. It's like a background spot in a Triple H segment at this point. When's that going to come up? I will definitely. I'm scared.
So Kai got distracted by Lyra Valkyria. Carter hit a DDT and they hit the after party. For the 1, 2, 3, Lyra celebrates with them. And Io Sky later on was really angry at the rest of Damage Control, saying, it has to change or I'll change this myself.
If this was NXT, we would definitely be getting Bird Person in the club. I want it. I've been shown an idea of it. They win. They're hanging out together. She looks like she wants to be part of the party. Give me that. Give me that a second.
Bird Person in the club.
Yeah. There's one of those it's one of those LA pool parties and there's like one of those like French windows and she keeps walking into it because she can't tell it's glass. Bird Person.
I watched this as I was still doing this with the club.
Yeah.
We're still doing this with Carter and Chance, are we? Are you taking the piss? I'm watching this going like, this is never going to work. The fact that there's I'm 38, right? The fact there's a babyface act of young people who are irresponsible. I remember 2020. Young, irresponsible people going out partying. First of all, it's got nothing to do with professional wrestling. Number 2, I resent them. Number 3, right? WWE fans never really took to Ricochet. Realistically, they didn't ever take to him. And in terms of high flying offense, this is about 100th as good as even main roster Ricochet. I hate it. Absolutely hate it.
Remember when they took the belts to the club? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's always on the cards if they win the titles. Just saying.
Carry on.
Watch that.
Carry on.
Sheamus versus Bron Breakker came next. Sami Zayn's watching from ringside, and whilst they were talking about what Bron did to Ricochet, Cole said, "Who knows if we'll ever see him again?"
Probably not. Because he's going to be on Rampage for the next 2 years of his life.
There's 2 famous WWE commentators that have written him off this week.
Bron hits a running clothesline. Sheamus comes back with a backbreaker and a rolling senton. Sheamus knocks Bron out of the ring, hit a clothesline off the apron, but then Bron knocks Sheamus off the apron. And with Sheamus leaning against the announce table, Bron just hits a mad leaping clothesline to send them both over the table, takes us to a break. That was a nice spot. When they come back, Bron drops Sheamus with a gutbuster. Sheamus comes back, clothesline, swinging side slam, gets 2. Sheamus was sitting on the top, and Bron goes to do the run-up Frankensteiner thing, but slips, and they both just fall down and go, "I'll just pretend that didn't happen." Then Sheamus hits white noise for 2. Bron hit a clothesline, but Sheamus comes back with a lifting knee strike for 2. 10 beats to the Bodhrán. Sheamus sets up for the brogue kick, but Ludwig Kaiser comes in, trips him, slams his knee against the post. DQ finish. So Sheamus attacks Kaiser, but Bron spears Sheamus whilst all this is going on. Refs, everyone else get involved, force Bron out there. Kaiser gets out of the way and then seizes the opportunity and attacks Sheamus, grabs the leg, kicks it. He's going to do the spot he did to Giovanni Vinci, put the steps and the runaround spot, and then just this, unbelievable shot.
Oh my God.
Of Kaiser runs one way around the ring to cripple Sheamus, but Bron Breakker's escaped the refs, runs the other way and just spears him in 2. Sami's there. Bron just shoves him. They have to be separated by officials. I love this.
That spot, the match wasn't just a botch going wrong, and that can't go wrong with the Bron Breakker because it's you can't have your aura diminished. And
It's just
diminished his aura.
You can't with Bron Breakker at this point say, "Oh, he's just there."
Yeah,
he's meant to be this guy who is the absolute boy, the next big star. He'll kill you.
Yeah.
Over in a flash with that spear. He cannot. It's bad if he feels like, he's just kind of there for a bit too long.
It is bad when that happens, and it's you wonder now if they either say park that for a bit and then bring it back for a special occasion when you're definitely not going to screw it up, or don't, if you're going to make it, or if he does it next week as a way to get back on the horse. Either way, it was bad for this match, and it did hurt it. And luckily, the spear that immediately followed put Bron right back to where he's been lately. And what I love about this spot, more than just how amazing it looked and how well it was shot and how it really couldn't have gone better in terms of, the foot race itself didn't look like Ludwig Kaiser had to pull up. Yeah, perfect. Was that with Bron Breakker, and this is how more wrestlers, lives on screen should be approached. You feel as if they get to work or they spend the 6 days between each Raw thinking of something like this. Like that. We've talked about it for years about Shane McMahon and WrestleMania. What's next to Bron Breakker? How do we illustrate something we love about him? How do we give the fans something to talk about for yet another week? I can't get the one of him running out the crowd out me head. But that's the point of spots like this. They want to put things in your head that you can't get rid of, or put them in your heart so that you love him, that you're ready for a WrestleMania title shot, whatever it is. This is perfect pro wrestling character development for me because it shows care and commitment and creativity as well. They're not just hoying out a spear every week. There is thought, and it's like that. You're right,
not just a jobber being fed to him, sort of thing.
Yeah, what does Ludwig Kaiser do? Well, when he put out Giovanni Vinci, he did it like this. Right. Well, how does that interact with the Bron Breakker character? Maybe like this. Can this be pulled off? We'll give it a go, and then he does, and it gives them more confidence and inspiration to do it again. I think this is the pro wrestling creative process in sort of perfect function. Love it.
I will say one thing very quickly because I think WWE gets an easy ride from a lot of media about a lot of things because it sort of behooves them to put it all over now. They're the hot company. It's already a little bit daft, but my latitude will take me this far for Kaiser to do that big run around the ring. He leaves the person a lot of time to potentially get out of the way, for example. But you get it. He's generating momentum with the run. It's one of those things. That's wrestling. It makes sense on those terms. The fact that he did it when he was like trying to avoid the glare of like the refs and that was stupid. Like, they could have gotten in the way very easily of your master plan if one of them had simply, had peripheral vision. But yeah, the spear was so awesome. It was one of those. It's very Triple H. Doing something a bit daft to get to something pretty good. And this is an awesome spear. Absolutely awesome.
So Dom's walking around in the back saying, does anyone see my vest? And there's Liv Morgan, just in a little hallway, wearing it. Dom says, give it back. And she says, you can have it, if you take it off me yourself.
Oh, my God.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was going to be a zipper sound effect. I don't know what I've done there.
I thought you said you couldn't add any things to the soundboard.
I've been trying. I know. It must be just some technical difficulties or something.
There wasn't a zip on before, though.
You know what's just popped up on his computer? A self-service. I think he's already done that. After watching Liv Morgan
I know something else has popped
on
up.
Monday Night Raw, yeah.
So she lowers,
Bopping self-service. He did it after this segment.
she lowers the zipper.
It's not that huge.
And says, you do the rest. And Dom starts undoing the zip when Damian Priest just so happens to walk around the corner and go, Dom, what are you doing? Take my vest back. Get back to the clubhouse, he says. Dom says, thanks for my vest. Leaves. Morgan's very happy with herself, of course, at this point. And Priest says, leave the poor guy alone. He wants nothing to do with you. And she laughs and says, I think he wants to do everything with me. She leaves. Priest says she's bonkers, she is.
It's great stuff, this. I love it. I'm so...
When are they going to have full sex?
Well, are they? This is the thing. Is she already having full sex with Finn Balor?
Oh, it's giving NXT this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
What... I don't want the full sex reveal before Rhea Ripley returns. And when she returns, there to be like some accidental Dominic... Not helps Liv win, but there's a segment where it appears as if he appears to have helped Liv instead of Rhea. And the thing like... Rhea's going to kill the pair of you. That's the thing like Liv Morgan said in that first week when it was like out in the open. I think this is... I'm gripped by this. I love that this is one of the ones that's like the multi-segment things on Raw because I want more than that one segment a week of this story. I think it's tremendous.
It's I don't have a thought. I don't really have a thought on it. I don't have a thought because what's the alternative? Liv Morgan should be wrestling matches. Not really.
No way. No way, Jose.
No way, Jose. No way, Jose. No way, Jose.
Speaking of fan favourites, CJ, am I right in thinking that I'm looking at the card and there's only one match left? I'll swear, when we previewed this yesterday, there was another match on the card, but presumably it got cut for time, and I don't know what they'd say to one of the two people who are in that match when they say, oh, what have you done to my match?
Well, I think they would say Karrion Kross, who is scheduled to wrestle Xavier Woods, like pretty knocked response will go,
instead, we got a promo from... He loved it.
I liked it as well.
A big old grin on his face. Oh, numbers game. You won this time. I was looking at me. Sorry, Cross. You're my favourite wrestler of all time now.
He says they beat him up 2-on-1.
The final cross.
He's going to do something real crazy. And then Scarlett talked him out of it. Instead, he's going to issue a challenge to either of them. 1-on-1. Leave the other guy in the back. He's kind of hoping it's Kofi because we all know he'd rather have Woods in the back anyway. And they respond. They said, look, you did very well. NXT champion and all that, but you haven't done anything, basically, since then. New Day, the greatest tag team of all time. And Woods mentions Cross's challenge, but before he can respond, Kingston says, I accept. And Woods looked a little bit knocked.
Karrion Kross's mind games have worked for the first time ever. It's only taken 2 years. TikTok.
TikTok.
The whole...
It's the best 3-week run on Raw ever for him.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Yeah, obviously.
It's not even in any doubt.
Best 2-week run. Best week run, actually.
The whole, inadvertent interference, as we've said, they've been mates for 10 years. They've been through the ringer in WWE. Just watch Raw back. Oh, it was a total accident. Yeah, absolutely fine. this was the week where it was different and actual thought was put into it. Xavier Woods revving himself up, but Kofi Kingston only slightly gotten to by Karrion Kross, just bulldozed his way in front, and Xavier Woods has listened to that promo as well and thought, yeah, but I'm not that though, am I? And then he's just been inadvertently told by his best mate that he is. It's good stuff.
It's not bad.
For a match that cannot be anything more than bang average with a guy that we now love.
Bang average is generous. As a projection.
But if he wins,
No, I mean, I'll enjoy it.
celebration.
How would he celebrate?
I love him. And again, we've said this. Might be a bit of smart business from Karrion Kross for the first time in his freaking career, because like moving away from spooky stuff in the Final Testament when you've got the Wyatts on, there is no comparison, is there?
He needs to be
Paul
better.
Ellering nursing one glove. Oh no! There's no massacre forthcoming from him, is there?
He needs to be patter.
Yeah.
Carrying crosses, it needs to be patter.
So just before the main event, the triple threat for the qualifier for Money in the Bank, Jey Uso's in the back along with some fans. He's got his sunglasses on and he says he's going to win tonight and win the Yeet case.
Oh yeah. Get that on WWE shopping now. What's that even look like? A big Y or something.
It's probably just got Money in the Yeet written on it.
2 handles.
Or Yeet in the
Yeet
Bank.
in the bank, yeah.
Yeet, but 2 handles on the case. You can go like that and hold the case while doing the big thing.
How does that make any sense?
Because he does this. Sige.
No, but
That's his
like,
pose.
no, I'm talking about the object.
Yeah. Well, because if you're doing it with one hand, it's got a chance of flying off and like your arms can't stay in sync. But with both hands, 2-handle briefcase.
So that's a big briefcase going up and down.
Yeah,
your
or
back,
bigger than your average
okay,
briefcase.
yeah,
The whole,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, big show size.
How stupid of me.
Thank you.
Just going a flashback to when I used to write quizzes on the website and I'd write Money in the quiz.
Yeah. There's a bit where James in this does this make a serious promo. He's like, no, you kiss. He's trying to stay serious and on message. Anyway, like, time for me to go to work. And he puts on his like, yeet slams across him. And he looks stupider than when you cut the promo, Jay.
Because can you see through them?
I want a pair to find out. It's like the Randy Savage glasses.
I'd like to write another quiz. I did a couple of them. That was really fun.
Kind of those days.
We've actually, though, got a pretty damn good quiz coming up on the wrestling
Yes.
YouTube channel. Much easier to do in video form.
Yeah.
Cole announced whilst all this was going on that Drew's deactivated his social media accounts.
Again, very tied to. He's been at war with Punk on these, so it's like, oh, he's put his weapons down, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Guess that's the last we'll ever see of him again. Jey Uso, Finn Balor, Rey Mysterio for the spot on Money in the Bank. Main event time. Balor, typical heel stuff. I'll let you two fight out to start, and they have a nice back and forth, but then Rey wipes out Balor with a dive, and they go to break. We come back. Rey hits Balor with a seated senton and a springboard crossbody for 2. Crucifix pin on Jey from Rey gets 2. Balor tries a schoolboy. Gets a near fall as well. Rey goes for 619. Balor knocks him down with a clothesline, though. There's an enziguri from Jey to Balor, but then Balor hits a Pele kick. Balor goes up top, but Rey brings him down with a Hurricane Rana. Jey spears Mysterio and gets a near fall. Balor shoves Jey off the top. Rey hit Balor with a 619 to the gut. Sliding splash to the outside. 619 to Jey. Both of them get a 619 simultaneously. Rey goes up top, but of course Dom runs out to stop him. Rey knocks him down, but JD McDonough gets involved, and so does Carlito. Strowman runs out to his music to chase away the rest of the Judgment Day, though. Jey super kicks Balor for 2. Balor hit a sling blade. Rey gets back in, but Balor sends him into the turnbuckle. He hits Rey with a coup de grace, but Jey immediately follows with a splash on Balor. 1, 2, 3. Jey qualifies for Money in the Bank and celebrates with his fireflies in the crowd.
Just a spot fest. Like, never made me once for a second doubt that Jey Uso was going to win.
Well, the add-ons at the end were like, ooh, maybe. And then Jey Uso, like, oh, there's a pin. I better break that up. It's like, you have to wait, like, another second. So you time it at the 2, 1, 2. Ah! Jey Uso's done a splash. Oh, Jesus Christ. That looks like a problem for me, that. So he wrestles at times, like, with the logic of a volcano. Ah! It's all about dramatic effect, Jey.
Yeah. Aye, very little more to add on that. I love Jey Uso, me.
He's not very good.
Nah, he's certainly not. I love him. Right there. I love what we're in. I just love the character. I don't know, the matches stink almost all of the time, and I don't care.
It's like, what? It's one thing to do the whole, right, okay, I was going to do some Yeet stuff. People forget how long Jey Uso's been going.
Yeah.
And he was in an era of, like, it's like a 3-hour Raw era, the
14 years on
pre-pandemic.
telly.
14 years on telly, 3-hour Raw era, like that murderous schedule before the pandemic. I mean, it's a bit better now, as I understand it. He's thrashed, and he would be in that system. So it's like, all right, fair enough, I'll just do yeet and just do some crap. But like, it's one thing to just be a little bit thrashed and more of a caricature of a pro wrestler, but he's forgotten like the fundamentals or like just the way to like be able to just get a little bit. I don't want to tell the guy how to do his job, but for God's sake, just give it a second. If you're doing your big splash to break up the pin, like the idea is you're meant to buy that there's a finish about to happen, and then he goes, I'm in trouble here, bang. It's like, it's not real. Does he convince himself it's real when he's flying off the top rope?
He really puts over something that you didn't see in the years where like
People doing that with their hand, he puts that over.
damn right he does, and that's what the business is all about. Like,
It is mad that some people are going to be watching him like killing themselves every week.
just do that. It's better. It is better than wrestling, right?
But like maybe the first 2 times, but not anymore.
What, on the show? So when he enters and when he exits.
No, like the first, per show.
Oh yeah.
He's done it like for more than a few weeks. It's the same all the time.
There was-
See one pair of arms go like that. You see them all.
There weren't that many meaningful tag teams over like 20 years in WWE because Vince hated tag wrestling, right? But like this has been a reminder of the difference, I guess, and how talented you must be to split from a tag team for such a long. Shawn Michaels springs to mind. You've been a tag team wrestler pretty much your whole career, and then you become a singles wrestler, and you actually make it look not seamless, but you manage it, and then you grow and you develop as a performer and all that. Because Jey Uso simply hasn't. And I'll go back to this match as an example all the time, but I would use the Fastlane match with Cody. That's the last great match I remember Jey Uso having was when they won the tag belts, and it's like, oh, I can do this, and I can do this really well. And then the gulf between that and pretty much every singles match he's ever had is vast. And you haven't seen that much because so many tag teams were just singles guys forced together anyway. Like, and then you get an FTR where like Dax has like pretty good singles, like very well regarded singles matches. You feel like Cash could. If he,
It's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore.
no, but
He had that run.
Some of them have been critically
2 years
acclaimed,
ago.
didn't he? Yeah, like he was chasing like wrestler of the year as a singles as well as a tag, wasn't he? In 2022.
That was the good year.
Yeah,
The Punk match was really good.
yeah. Like I like Dax versus Cash as much as like Love Letter as it was. Like, but Jey Uso's I think been a reminder of maybe how it's not as perhaps easy as we would assume it to be as non-wrestlers because he's never really put it together outside of tag team wrestling, which is why when he wins the briefcase.
I don't know who's going to win Money in the Bank now.
Jey Uso.
Can't call it right now. Well, there's only one person in each match. That's probably why. So Jay celebrates with the crowd. As I said, they're doing his pose and they're doing the sort of fireflies thing, which of course leads into the closing angle. The lights slowly go out. There's the forbidden door, and out crawls Nikki Cross.
Such an arsehole. I don't care.
Out crawls Nikki.
Somebody will. Somebody's going to really hate that.
Yeah, the listeners would like to try and keep.
I think they like him for that. It's like, all right, he's a right wanker. That's it. That's his bit.
A little scamp.
Yeah.
Nikki Cross creepily crawls out.
Creepily crawls. Oh, she's a bug now. Not even a ring, an insect.
And she points towards the back, and the camera follows where she's pointing, and gorilla position's been destroyed. It's dark, there's smoke and dry ice.
If it's meant to be the Fergie.
There's sparks going off, and there's Eric Rowan with a mask on, and there's people with bodies strewn everywhere. Dexter Lumis is there as well. Joe Gacy is near a fallen Chad Gable who looked like he'd been shot in the head. Blood spatters everywhere. And then there's Uncle Howdy. There's Bo Dallas to lead them all back through, out into the arena. There's the lantern, of course, and there's the firefly lights in the arena. And they pose, and Uncle Howdy says, "We're here," and blows out the lantern.
Well, the lantern went out first. Massive pop for Bo Dallas as
Yes.
Uncle Howdy. Like, one by one. But, like, there was a genuine pop for him and that appearance of that character. So they've done a very good job of that. Obviously, we go very long on this video, which we recommend you watching. And then another one for the gathering of all of them together, like the beauty shot that you knew WWE were going to get. Yeah, like as effective a rollout of this idea, I think, as you could have possibly had when for weeks and weeks in the build-up, especially when not as many people were doing the sleuthing from the QR codes and all of that, and they kind of rushed to the commentators acknowledging it, which they never had to do with White Rabbit. This was different, and you're like, oh, is this already set up to fail? Quite the opposite on how it was unveiled. It's been set up to succeed, and now the challenge is making it.
Yeah. This is weird because, like, we literally talked about this at length in a separate podcast entitled Uncle Howdy Wyatt Sick6 debut reaction. It should be on your feeds right now, well before this one. So I'm literally not going to repeat myself. I've got other things to do. But one thing I didn't mention, right? Chad Gable, it was so weird how he was the only, like, sort of discernible star wrestler in that scene. Like, at the start of the night, three things happened to Chad Gable across this broadcast. This is after he fails to win the Intercontinental title, I should add. He loses clean in the middle to Braun Strowman. He is told by Otis, he's physically attacked by Otis in revenge and told the Alpha Academy aren't going to go along with him anymore. It's all over. He does also say that he intends to win Money in the Bank, was it? And then he gets murdered with the stupid visual effect, in my opinion, of like what looked like a bullet hole to the temple, right? Why do they look like they've been shot? Why do they look like people have been shot with guns in this freaking segment? Stupid. If you weren't like in the weeds like we are, or like the listeners or the viewers, and just, follow online developments through, social channels or reports, X, whatever, you'd think, all right, Chad Gable's gone. That's a write-off. He's lost a big match cleanly. He's sort of, I know he said he's going to stick around, but then he died. So, I mean, you'd think this is a write-off or a burial.
I don't know. It's the way you said it. Then he died, so, that's kind of it. Yeah.
Like, if they were saying...
There's that very good Friends joke where Rachel's trying to discourage her sister from buying more shoes. And you know what happened to the old woman in the shoe jail? No. She died in jail.
Well, that's the thing, like, if you secured the services at great expense by your cheap bastard standards, TKO and WWE, for a guy who, we believe in him, big part of the show, and we don't even think he's scratched the surface of what he can actually do under Levesque. Well, he dies. This is so bizarre. You'd think, in fact, there was a last-minute snafu and he's deciding, I'm going to go to AEW instead. It was just weird, this. Not a way to present someone who you apparently care about.
Supposed to, like, pop the paintball blood pellet on his head and it splash out all over there, and instead it's just all clagged at the side instead, and that's why we're seeing, like, was it just for all that the effort was made? Because I'm with you on the kind of the other... Like what the blood splatters look very much like a sort of direct hit from a bullet in gorilla position as well. Was that the one element of the staging and the set that they got a bit wrong here? Because it did.
Well, if you listen to Uncle Howdy Wyatt Sick6 debut reaction on your podcast feeds right now, I would argue that there were quite a few.
This was as good a start as I think they're going to get. Yeah. We'll see.
But if you don't want to hear some cynic pissing and moaning on the supernatural stuff that you quite like, and you're more than entitled to do so, I was also a little bit nice about it on said podcast.
But yeah, big angle to close out this episode of Monday Night Raw. Let us know your thoughts on it in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. You actually can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow our brilliant producer at It's Adam Nicholas. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcast from for daily wrestling podcasts. As Sidge mentioned, that deep dive into the Wyatt Sick6 and Uncle Howdy is available right now. And we'll be back a little bit later on today to preview NXT.
Easy for you to say.
A little bit corrupted there at the end. No, just the Raw review. My thanks to Hamflett Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon.